Hello everyone, welcome to Studio Sessions at 2. If you're new here, my name is Michelle Adamas and I'm the owner of Vintage Revival Design Co. I'm in Northern Virginia, and today we are going to be doing a layered mixed media little art project. And so we'll be using decoupage and stamping. I have stencils here, I have stamps, I've got gesso, I've got brushes, all the things. So we're just going to see where this is going to go. But I am going to try to use somewhat of a limited color palette, keeping with the papers that we're going to be using. Hello, Bev. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my project and let you know how I'm starting with this. Okay, so I have a canvas. This is a 5x5 canvas and it was on this little frame. And hi, Shannon. And I have taken it off the frame and taped it to my glass plate because this is easier. When you work with a canvas like this that isn't on a board and it's open in the back, you know, when you're putting too much pressure on it, it can warp and lose shape. So we are going to work with this. So I just used some artist tape for that. I also have some different decoupage papers. This is from the Typography Love, the Burlap Roses paper by Roy Cycle Treasures. You can find that on my website at vintagerevivaldesignco.com. And then I have some other papers. I have a rice paper, I have some deli paper, I have some little strips. And the reason that I've chosen the deli paper and, this is the mulberry paper, is because they are transparent. And so you can get a really beautiful effect, like a really layered, ethereal effect by layering transparent papers. So I've decided that I was trying to decide if I wanted to do my burlap paper or did I want to do the Typography Love on top or did I want to do it underneath. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this one because, you know, I can always do another canvas if this doesn't turn out right. So I'm going to get that's the one thing that I didn't do was I didn't get out my matte medium I'll just use this satin clear coat. So to begin with, I'm going to, and I cut these to about 5x5 just so that we wouldn't have to cut too much or anything like that. So I'm going to decide how I want my roses to go, and I think I'll do it like, I don't know. I think I had it right the first time. They're kind of going down and in that direction. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go ahead and get my medium on, and I have a little piece of plastic wrap to do this. Let me move this so that you can see. And I just want to get a good even coat. I didn't mist my paper first, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down about here. I'll be doing something to the edges, so I'm not too worried about it lining up exactly. And I'm just going to use my fingers for this and put this down in place. I really should let this dry first, so that I don't tear my paper. But we're just gonna, I don't know, let's give it a go, okay? We only have so much time on the live because this is not pre-recorded. I'm gonna go ahead and gently, because this paper is wet underneath, I'm gonna go ahead and gently go over the top of this one. And then I'm going to, where is that little piece of plastic wrap? There it is, okay. And then I'm going to lay this down here, and I'm going to push that in place. Now, when I go over the top of this paper, it's going to show those flowers underneath. I got a lot of wet layers here. So you can see when you get that medium in there that those little burlap roses are going to show underneath a little bit, just like this. So I'm excited that you're here, Shannon. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do was I want to make this layer a little more transparent. And so to do that, I'm going to lay deli paper on top of this, and you'll see how the layers just start to become really, really transparent. And it just gives you this really pretty effect. So I'm going to lay my deli paper down. Ooh, that's going to go quick. And I didn't get it completely lined up, but I'm going to smooth it out with my plastic wrap. And so now even this is a little more transparent. And so I am really, really liking that. I wanted to use another paper, and I thought we could do something kind of, I don't know. I have this deckled paper, but you would see through it. And so I have another piece of this little paper here. And so I think I'm going to make it a little more of a focal point on here. So you'll lose a little bit of this, but I'm going to go ahead and wet cut this, and then we're going to get some stencils out and do something with this little piece of paper. So while I'm thinking about it and giving this a second to dry, I'm going to wet cut this element here of this paper. And so I'm just going to go, it's okay if some of it shows through. I really needed a smaller brush, but let's see what we can do. And it can be a little torn, that's okay. So the layering of the transparent papers is just a beautiful way to get a fabulous look. I like being able to see the layers underneath. Okay, let's do this. So I am streaming into Facebook and YouTube, and it's easy to do. I really hesitated because Facebook will delete this in 30 days, but the replay will always be available on YouTube. So I thought, why not? We'll just do it and see how it goes. All right, as long as my streaming is working, then I think it's okay. So I'm going to come in here and I just want to get some of this. I don't want the whole image. Okay, so what I thought I would do is something like this, and I thought about putting it under or on this sheet of paper, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to go ahead and lay this down, and then I can trim it afterwards. I think I'll just do a little fold here and cut that. I don't think you can see. So all I'm doing is just kind of going up to my edge here. I think I'll do something else with this. All right, so I'm going to cut this off. Let's see if it's still wet. It is. It's still wet enough for me to work with. And then I can take this one off. Okay, so I'm going to, now do I want to do that? I think I will. I think that's kind of pretty. And then we'll have a little bit of this down here too. So let's get a little more. Pray that I don't tear my paper because I'm really working with wet layers. I'm going to lay this down, kind of line it up with the edge there. And I can trim this, so it's not a big deal. So we've got a little more going here, right? And I think that's a pretty layer. And I'm going to get a little more transparency. I'll just use the medium that I have on my brush, and we'll get a little more. Okay. And now I could do even another little piece of deli paper on here. I don't have a larger sheet. I have this one. I think that could be some fun texture. but I think we're just going to add a little bit of a stencil, and I don't know if I want to do this one or I have this little one with the flowers. I think I may just come up here and do a little bit of a floral with some leaves, because that seems to kind of work. So this is just a quick little project, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. And this is the 1 hour enamel clear coat, so it dries. And I had some of that mulberry paper, the mulberry fiber stick there. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, and I'm just going to use a little white gesso and I could do some dots, but I think let's do some of the florals and see how this works, okay? So I think I'm just going to do it along this edge like this. I could do this on deli paper as well. I'm going to lay this down and pray it doesn't stick to my paper. So I'm just going to do a little bit of, see if I can get that to go. Just a little bit, we'll see. I'll get a little floral in there. I think it's going to stick to my paper. This is going to give, the gesso will give it a little bit of a raised effect. And this is a fun thing to do on your paper too. So while I have this out, and we're going to let this dry just a little bit before we go too far down the rabbit hole, I'm going to, we'll just do a little piece of paper, and I'll show you that you could do some layering. Gonna do this, get a little more over here. This is a pretty thin gesso. This is just the inexpensive brand of gesso. Oops, I went under that. Let's see if I got that. So I have a little bit of stenciling right here, and I think that is really a pretty little look. And so I'll set that aside, and I'm just going to take a baby wipe. I could also take a wet brush, but I'm going to go ahead and take a baby wipe and just pick up those little areas that are a little smudgy. Smudgy is a word, right? And we're going to do that. So another way that you could add transparent layers is to take something like a deli paper and lay this down and put your stencil on top. And we could have done that, but then I would have gone over the entire thing. So I'm going to just take some gesso, and I'm going to just create some transparent paper. So it's kind of like, these are just like hand painted papers. You could use joint compound or something like that. And then you can clean this up or tear whatever you want, but then you could see that if we went over this, then that could be really pretty too. So you can just continue to put your layers together. So that could have been really pretty. I'm going to take a little tiny brush and just clean up even a little bit more here. It's okay if I have a little too much transparency, and I'm going to move that so I don't stick my hand in it, my sleeve in it. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And then I thought to finish this off, we would do just a little paint swatch. I thought that would be fun. So simple, 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 small, you know, very limited in color. But I really love how I'm just going to smudge this a little bit with my fingers here, in here. So when this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and get my heat tool so we can dry this up. Then we can do, I just had one more little thing that I wanted to do on here. I don't want my tape to lift up. I could also have used acrylic paint with the stencil instead. Sorry about the dryer. Let me see if it's drying at all. It's really wet, so I don't know. All right. So for this, I am going to use a little piece of paper. And I have this little stamp. It is like for paint swatches. And so I'm going to use this stamp. Excuse me. And I have a block here somewhere. I have a, yep, right here. All right. So for this, I'm going to just stamp a few of these, just a couple of them, because I already have, and I'm trying to decide what size I want. I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to do the 3. So I have some colors over here that we're going to mix up, and we'll add a little interest to that. So I'm going to just do 3 here, and I have a Stays On black ink. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this onto the mulberry paper like this. Actually, you know what? I think what we're going to do is a band. I think that'll be fun. So let's do that. I'll go ahead and stamp the whole thing and see what I like. So I'll give myself some options here. And I really want to go, and then I'm going to do one this way so that I can, I'm going to kind of go in the middle of down here. Okay, and so while this is still drying a little bit, I have like, I'm going to see if I can lift this up and move it out of the way a little bit while it's drying. Okay, I have a little piece of plastic from a folder. Let me get my gesso out of the way. And we're going to mix up a little color. So I have the green, and I've got a little bit of a yellow and a peach and an orange. So we're going to see what colors we can mix up to work with this. I'll set it here so you can still see it. And then I have my little, my paint palette stamp. So I think this green could work. This is a green gold by Golden. And I'm just going to do a little here and get out that little brush. And I could make this super transparent, but I'm just going to, I don't want it to be too wet. So I'm going to just go ahead and do some swatches here. Start with that green. And in case I do want to use this one, I'm going to paint this one too. And I'm just painting right over the mulberry paper. And I'm going to end up with, let's see, let's go, I guess I'll go here. Okay, and then let me wipe that up here. And let's go, I'm going to put something underneath this so that I can clean that up a little bit. All right, so for my pink, I do have like a light pink, but it's more of a peachy color. This is just an inexpensive paint that I got at Five Below. And so I thought I'm just gonna mix a little orange in this light pink and see if we can get kind of a coral color, more of a coral color. So just a little bit here. and let's see what we get. And I have a little white over here too. I don't want that green in there. Okay, that's 2-2 orange. And so I've got another little pink. This is a peach pink. Hello, that's probably what I should have used. Let's do that one in there and see what we get. It is more of an orangey, peachy color. So let's see. I do have a red. This is a vermilion. Let's see if this color is good. That color could actually be pretty good. And I could do a little yellow ochre with it as well. I wonder if I get a little of this, what I get. That's really bright. Let's mix a little white. In there and see what we get. I'm getting some pinky, kind of a corally color. It's not too bad. Adding a little white was really helpful. All right, let's see if we can pick that up and put that on here. Okay, I'll just go here. I'm gonna have to draw that little black line in again. And they don't even have to be perfect. They can just be a little swatch. Okay, and then let's add a little bit of the, which yellow is this? This is a chameleon color. So let me see if I can get a little of this yellow ochre. This is just not the, okay. And I'm gonna add a little bit of white to that. Hello, Lori, how are you? All right, we're gonna add a little bit of white to that as well. I'm buying a little time while that gesso dries, that's for sure. And that's a little too soft, but definitely I think the yellow ochre was a good color for this. Whoops. Okay. So let's it's a little closer. I think it can work and be just fine. Okay, we'll just do a little yellow here. I just want to get the colors in my project. Okay, and my idea is that I would just do a little bit on here and then a little transparency. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set, I guess I'll do that later. I think I'm going to use this one and just do the 3. So I'm going to tear this a little bit. I'm really just thinking out loud as I do this. All right. Oh, I smudged it. All right, let's use this one. I think I'll cut it and see what we get. Or wet. I'll wet the edge a little bit. All right, let's get this brush out. I'll just use the 3. Okay, let's do this. Much easier to wet cut, right? I love the mulberry paper for the texture that it has. I want to get that oops off the edge. Okay, and I thought we could just place it maybe here, maybe down here where I messed up my stenciling a little bit would be good. So let's, how dry is that? It's, I don't know. Let me just hit this with the dryer really quick and see what we get. I really want to be able to finish this. So I'm going to get all this mess out of the way. Do your workspaces look like this when you do this, when you're creating? All right, let me hit this with the heat tool again and let's see what we can do. I think I want to put it right down there. Okay, let's see. It's going to be dry enough. All right, so I'm going to take my, is this already stiff and ruined now? Let's see. What did I do? All right, let's just take a little of this. It's probably going to smudge it. And I'm just going to lay this down here in the corner. It's also going to seal the acrylic paint. It gives me a little texture here. And I want that to be a little more subtle. And so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add some matte gel to this. And let's see, what have I got? I have glass bead gel. Glass bead gel would be a fun thing to use. I may have that out. But let's do the matte gel. This has a little bit of water added to it. Yes, all the spaces are a mess and full. I totally get it. So we're going to take a little bit of this matte gel, and I may do a few coats of it, but I just want to make this a little subtle if I can. The matte gel is also going to give it a transparent appearance. And really soften the colors a little bit. So there's more that I want to do. I wanted to add a little bit of a gold here to this. And it's a little wet, but I think I'm just gonna see if I can do a little bit. How can I do this so that I'm just going to use this little makeup brush and see if we can add a little shimmer. I'm going to have to use my finger. Just a little bit. Going to need a little bit more. So this is an iridescent fine gold. This is also by Golden. I don't want too much on my finger because I'm really just trying to give it a little bit of shimmer here. Oops. I could just put my stencil back on top and do it that way, but that's okay. All right. We're just going to add a little bit of gold here. Okay, and then I think, let's see if I can get anything in here. Painting them out seems to help a lot too. Just like this. The brush seems to work the best. And then I think I'm just going to I'll add a little here. I will probably go in and fix this little area with my stencil. All right. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this shimmer just in some little places where the gold is. I have started to absolutely love painting papers. And I would usually seal this with a gesso before doing this. So I really like it on the leaves much more than I like it on the flowers. It's just the smallest little hint of shimmer. Just like this. Do we have any questions? Oh yeah, if it's not a mess, you can't find anything. Oh my goodness, Shannon. I occasionally will just have to stop and do a good clean, because if I don't, then I really can't find anything. All right, so everything really does need to dry, and I can't help but feel like I really even want to go a little bit further. Like, what would that look like if I just did another transparent layer? You can see how that could, what do you guys think? Another transparent layer? Or, I don't know, maybe just, I don't know. I think we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this, and then I can take this off, and then I'll just play with it and see what I get. So there's just too much that has to dry, but I'm gonna get an X-Acto knife, and we will do this. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I have a little spot here. I wanna be careful that I don't cut into my canvas. Let's see, did I get that, or did I glue it to my tape? Okay, I think I got that. And then I'm going to come up here, and we're going to go here, and let's see. And everything should be a lot drier than it is, but I'm just living dangerously, you guys. I'm just creating dangerously today. Let's see if I can get that just a little bit more. So now when I pull the tape, and I can always tape this down again and continue. But it's just simple. It doesn't take a lot. You just need a few little supplies. You can always use gesso instead of white paint if you want. It's not as heavy. So now that we've pulled off the tape, then we have our little canvas. And what I will do when I finally figure out what I want to do with this is I will just put it back onto my frame, just like this. And so, oh, Chris, you're so welcome. Thank you. So this is I'm just going to put it back on the canvas, and it'll be ready to go. I really am not sure where this is going to go. I'm going to play with it a little bit, but I want to show you that you can see that there's a little bit of shimmer, just the tiniest bit of something that you wouldn't expect. And then we've got some stenciling. So I definitely want to clean up the stenciling. I want to do my edges. In fact, we can do the edges now because I'll paint out all of this white in the gold anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little, I need another brush. I'm going to use this one. And I'll take some of that gold paint and we'll go ahead and do this. And I'm also going to want to do the edges a little bit. So I think this will fill that in. I always said I wasn't like really a gilding girl, but I have lied to myself. I am a gilding girl. So I find more and more of my projects end up with just a little bit of shimmer, just a little bit, not too much. And that's it. So next week we are going to be doing some, well, let me back up. So the last 3 weeks we have focused on doing gel plate printing, but there are a variety, just like that, you know, this little paper that we created today, this little transparent paper, it's stuck to my stencil. So just like this little transparent paper, we are going to be making some papers. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. And that way, if you don't have a gel plate, you can still paint your own papers and make them really fun. And they're so much fun to layer. And then we'll do another art project with that. I paint the back of my canvas too, or I cover it in paper. So I'm not too worried about this. I'm making the biggest mess, y'all. And so we're going to just go ahead and see if I can do this a little faster. And so I can fill in my areas, and then I'll probably ink the edges too, just to make it a little, you know, a little distressed, who knows, but I'll be sure to share the finished project with you. But these little canvases, you can get them in bulk on Amazon. And I didn't do a supply list today, so I'll try to be better about that. But I'm going to just finish this, and then we are good. So does anybody have any questions? Or I am so grateful for you joining me today. It's always so much more fun to create with people. It's much more fun than pre-recorded. I know that many of you prefer pre-recorded, but it's nice to connect live sometimes too. And so the deli paper I purchased off of Amazon. You can search deli paper, Chris, and you are going to be able to find a lot of varieties. The latest paper that I purchased was a 12 by 12 size, and I think it's just because it was on sale. So look for the sales and you can find those. My past few videos are here on YouTube. Shannon, the last 3 weeks are in a playlist on my YouTube channel, and I think it's jelly plate printing. It's just a playlist for jelly plate printing. And we covered the basics and some mark making, and then we did a couple of little projects with the deli paper, or with the gel prints. So this is what we have, and I think it's kind of fun. I really don't know where it's going, but I'm okay. And thank you for asking, Shannon. I appreciate that. You can find that, it should be right there. If you go to my channel and hit playlists, it should show. So, okay guys, so this is it. I'm trying to keep these to not too long, so that we don't go on forever. I'm so happy that you were able to join me, and you have a great week too, Chris and Shannon and Bev. Thank you so much again for being here, and I will see you next Tuesday at 2 for studio sessions. All right, everybody, take care.